Coming up on this episode of Coordinated.
Can we mention the best part first?
Of course, let's do it.
The AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2, is available for download right now.
It is. And of course, we'll put a link in the show notes. I've been wanting to say that for a while.
Greetings, AP coordinators, and welcome to Season 6 of Coordinated.
Thanks for joining us as we get ready for this year's AP exam administration.
Our goal? Help AP coordinators create the optimal testing experience for AP students.
And that means we have a lot to cover.
Derek Cometa, former AP coordinator, now director, AP coordinator experience for the AP program.
And I'm Rachel McBride, AP coordinator and school counselor at Mayfield High School. Welcome to the podcast for AP coordinators.
Welcome to Coordinated.
Hi, everyone. I'm April Nenadal, counselor and AP coordinator, and I invite you to join experienced AP coordinators like myself over Zoom for Power Hour Live. In these live sessions, you'll get best practices for how to administer world language and music theory exams, including guidance for using the Digital Audio Capture app and the Digital Audio Submission Portal. Plus, you'll hear the key action items for submitting student work for AP Seminar, AP Research, AP Computer Science Principles, and AP Art and Design. During the hour, you can participate in collaborative breakout rooms to share best practices and get ready for this year's exam administration. You'll hear the answers to common questions coming into AP Services for Educators. And we'll end with an open question and answer session. This is the first in a series of live events to support AP coordinators as we prepare for the 2022 AP exam administration. Sessions are available on multiple days and times, but space is limited. We'll put a registration link in the show notes, so please register now. This is something you won't want to miss. I look forward to seeing you then.
Season 6, Episode 4, The AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coordinated. There are many reasons to be excited about today's episode. However, Rachel, I don't think anyone is as excited about today's topic and today's special guest as you.
Yes, you are right on. I mean, we get to talk about my new best friend, the peanut butter to my jelly, the star in my shiny new year, the apple of my eye. I am so excited. I don't even know what to say.
All right. Well, we can certainly tell we have an excited Rachel on our hands. Our faithful listeners know that Rachel often refers to the AP Coordinator's Manual as her best friend. So I think what she's trying to say is, so far this school year, she's had to make do with just part one of that friendship. But today,
my best friend is complete. Today, we get to talk about the AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2. I've been not so patiently waiting for this.
Clearly, it's a special episode, and that means, of course, we have a special guest. So the name may sound familiar. However, the voice is a new one on the show. She is the Director of AP Exam and Operational Publications. She is part of the team that develops and produces the AP Coordinator's Manual Part 2, and she also co-authors Coordinated with Rachel and I every week. She is our friend and colleague, Kimberly Casey. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Derek. Hey, Rachel. This is pretty cool. I finally get to meet the famous Rachel McBride.
Well, I don't know about the famous part, but I'm pretty excited to finally meet you too.
Are we forgetting someone here?
Seeing Derek is no big deal. I see him in meetings for work all the time.
Gee, it's really nice to see you too, Kim. Hey, in all seriousness, thanks for finally making your podcast debut on our show. We have a lot to talk about, and you are an expert when it comes to the AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2.
Hey, Derek, sorry to interrupt, but before we get going, can we mention the best part first?
Of course, let's do it.
The AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2, is available for download right now.
It is. And of course, we'll put a link in the show notes. I've been wanting to say that for a while. And Rachel, printed copies of the manual are on their way to schools right now.
I cannot wait to get mine. It's the most wonderful time of the year, right, Derek?
Absolutely, especially for you. And yes, good idea to share that information early on. Do not want to be accused of burying the lead, especially when I'm working with a former English teacher and a professional writer. So, Kim, back to you. We're all curious. We're ready. Tell us about the AP Coordinator's Manual, Part 2.
Sure. Part 2 of the AP Coordinator's Manual contains policy and procedure information from the start of 2022 through the exam administration in May and invoicing in June. There's a blue and white icon with the word New that can be found in the manual itself. As you might guess, that icon indicates information that's new or updated for this school year. This makes it even easier to use the manual.
I can tell you are a professional writer, Kim, because that was a great transition. We definitely want to hear about some of the new things. Sadly, we don't have enough time to talk about all of them, so I'm thinking highlights. What are some of the key updates for AP coordinators to be aware of?
Well, we can start with one that will catch everyone's attention in a positive way. It's about the incident report form. Coordinators commonly refer to this as the IR form. So here's the big news. In 2022, there are two options for submitting an incident report. The first is the way that experienced AP coordinators are familiar with, a paper IR form returned with exam materials in the IR return envelope. The second option, and this is new, is submitting an IR form online, and it will be submitted through AP registration and ordering.
Ooh, this is music to my ears, Kim.
Right. More information can be found on pages 75 through 82 of the AP Coordinator's Manual Part 2. An important note is that coordinators should complete either the paper IR form or the online form, not both.
Kim, let's say that part again. You know how I like to repeat the important stuff.
I do. So again, AP coordinators should complete either the paper IR form or the online form, not both.
Got it. And we'll have more information about the online IR form later in the spring. In fact, we're planning a future podcast episode completely dedicated to this very topic. Stay tuned for more. Great start, Kim. What else?
So, not surprising at all, we know that health and safety for students and proctors is on the top of everyone's priority list.
And the health and safety for AP coordinators, too.
Right, of course. So, we have some additional guidance on selecting testing locations and off-site testing. That's on page 40.
Actually, I'm looking that up right now, and it says, when planning for exam rooms and locations, consider any aspects unique to this year depending on your school or district's current health and safety protocol. So that means things like enough space for proctors to circulate while social distancing, ventilation in the exam room, sanitizing between exams, and managing restroom availability too. Lots of flexibility.
Definitely. And Kim, you mentioned there's also important information about offsite testing.
Yes. So this is not new to everyone. Some schools hosted paper and pencil testing last year and may already know this. It's good to cover for everyone, though. 1. Schools with social distancing guidelines can use the option of offsite testing to distribute students among multiple locations. This allows for more distance between students if needed. And two, we understand that social distancing requirements might limit how many students are able to test in a single location. So this year, schools may administer an exam subject in multiple locations if necessary. That could be helpful when it comes to complying with social distancing.
So, for example, one of my biggest exams is AP U.S. Government and Politics. This year, I can administer AP U.S. Government exams to half of my students on campus and at the same time administer AP U.S. Government exams to the other half of my students in an off-site location, like the church hall down the street.
Correct. Please note that an entire exam, meaning all parts of the same exam, an entire exam must be administered in a single location. You can't administer Section 1 of the exam in one location and Section 2 in another off-site location.
And Kim, we've had some questions on the AP coordinator community already about the exams that have a speaking part for students. You know, the recording sessions, Rachel's favorite part of AP exam administration.
Right. And Derek, now that you mention it, I haven't quite finished my proctor schedule yet. It's not too late. If you'd like, I can still add your name to all of my recording sessions.
Wow. What an opportunity. Thank you. But I think after nearly 2 decades of proctoring AP Spanish, AP French, AP German, and AP Music Theory at my former school, I think I've met my lifetime quota for proctoring recording sessions, but thanks for the offer.
Sure.
And back to the recording sessions. This year, we encourage schools to consult with the AP teacher about how they have been managing speaking instruction throughout the year. Teachers may be taking steps that can also be used during the exam administration, things like social distancing, mask wearing, disinfecting equipment, and different rooms for recording as well.
I'm also working with school administration to review local and federal government protocols. We're keeping up with the guidance for social distancing and related behavior. We're doing this to determine if there are impacts to how I'm planning to administer the recording sessions.
Page 122 of the AP Coordinator's Manual Part 2 provides some great information. One of the topics there is masks. We support local school policy. So students keeping their masks on for the entire exam, including during the speaking part, is permitted, especially if required by school policy or chosen by the student. And wearing a mask won't negatively affect the quality of the student's recorded response.
And what about other personal protective equipment? You know, PPE.
Good question. We also support proctors using PPE such as masks, shields, and/or gloves if that's permitted by school policy and preferred by the proctor. The latter particularly when handling materials like recording devices. Speaking of, schools may want to avoid having multiple students use the same recording equipment on exam day. However, if multiple students will need to use the same recording equipment, if that's the case, then sanitizing the equipment between students is recommended.
Yes, highly recommended. This is great conversation. This year, more than ever, I can't wait to curl up on my sofa and read the Part 2 manual front to back.
Something we encourage all coordinators to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as a little bonus tip for listening to this episode, experienced coordinators, you can use the online PDF and search for the word new to make sure you catch up on all the latest updates. As I said earlier, we only had time to cover a few of them today. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Derek.
Thanks for making the time to be with us today. And thanks for all you do to support AP coordinators. We appreciate you.
I'm happy to do it. And thanks for having me on the show. And Rachel, it was great to finally meet you.
Yes, I'm a little starstruck as well. You are a big part of completing my set of AP coordinators manuals, so thank you. And together, we've all been working hard over this past year or so to help support AP coordinators with this podcast and keep Derek in check. It's a blast.
Right. One might say it's a well-coordinated effort. Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, AP coordinators. We'll talk with you soon.
Coordinated is recorded, produced, and engineered by Derek Cometa. Derek also co-authors the show, along with Kimberly Casey and Rachel McBride. Audio review by Elisa Aloyo, Dale Glazer, and Tierra Pinto. Our executive producer is Edward Biederman. Podcast logo courtesy of the amazingly talented Amy O. Amy is enjoying her senior year at Savannah Arts Academy. We thank Jackie Ray for our theme song, Good as Gold. Jackie is a former AP Music Theory student at Oakton High School. Additional vocal support by myself, Carly Suge, AP Coordinator at Costa Mesa High School in Southern California.
Special thanks to all my colleagues in the AP program for supporting our show. And AP coordinators, we cannot say it enough. Thank you. We appreciate you, and for all your support of AP students, you are truly good as gold.
And maybe I just don't know. I'll say it over and over and over again till I believe it's so. I'm good as gold.